My name is Pam Saylor. I'm co-owner of Trailhead Cycling and Fitness with my husband Larry.
Not the derailleur, but the internal gear you can drop to a lower gear ratio while you're at a standstill, so that when the light changes, you're in an easy gear to get going.
Our families come in Trailhead all the time. It's great. It's a great family bike shop. But we also have racers, triathletes, mountain bike races. We have a full spectrum of bike riding here at Trailhead, but by and large, just because we're in a family community, it's a family bike shop.
Jaden's 9 years old, and we hadn't bought him a nice bike yet. We went through about a bike a year, and we decided that we're going to try to graduate to a nicer bike. So we were out shopping,
and we have bikes that we ride and camp a lot. So
go camping a lot, and we wanted him to have a bike where he could keep up with us and go the distance.
So the advantage to your son riding that 26-inch wheel bike with the larger crank size is stroke for stroke, he's going to be able to keep pace with you.
Awesome!
I'm Linda Bernan, and I moved into the city of Minneapolis about 7 years ago from Circle Pines Blaine area, and I do for a living freelance editing for doctoral dissertations and other academic papers. When I moved into the city, I left my car out in the suburbs because it was just really too much of a hassle to have a car here in the city with the parking situation, the snow removal, and all different kinds of things. I decided to be carless here in the city. So I brought a bike into the city and I started riding my bike. I've got buses all around me, but then the Nice Ride came in and I found out it would be a lot more flexible to be able to pay a subscription to Nice Ride and commute that way. If I hear that it's going to be raining, I will, but it's not raining yet, I will drop an umbrella in my bag. And if you biked around uptown at all or downtown, you'll see that the secret to wearing skirts when you're biking is the fun tights or bike shorts that you wear underneath. So I'm all ready with those. I've got my water bottle in here too, and after I'm done with work today, I've got a library book I'm going to return, so I've dropped that into my bag too, because that's on my route as well. Got a little hair tie here too that I tie my hair back with if it gets a little bit too windy out there and my hair is blowing around. Tuck that into my purse. I typically also turn my cell phone off because I don't want to be driving and talking, riding and talking on the phone. So I'm pretty well set here. I've got my sunglasses. It's nice and sunny out there today, I gather. My jacket. And I've got some biking gloves here too that I'll wear. I like to wear them. They're not as necessary. I found that these are more necessary when I ride my own bike, but the Nice Ride bikes have a lot of good cushion on the handlebars. So they're not quite as necessary as with some other bikes. They're good for gripping, you know, or maybe if your hands sweat or whatever, but it's like a little more cushion. And I've got some comfy shoes. The comfy shoes are really the secret. Right now it's a $60 annual subscription for Nice Ride. I renewed it when the sale price was $40 for a year, and that's all my transportation cost for spring, summer, and fall. Having a car, aside from all the hassle, it would probably be, I would say, hundreds of dollars a month for a car, the insurance, the gas, the maintenance. Bus fares would usually cost me about $20 to $25 a week to do that by bus during rush hour. And really this is $40 a year for me. So it can't be beat.
Hi, I'm Nick. I've been working here for 4 years. I'm a mechanic at Trailhead Cycling, and basically I do tune-ups and fix bikes. Essentially, this customer has been coming in since we've been open, and he brings his bike in once a year to have it tuned up. And basically the tune-up goes through and we adjust the brakes, we adjust the shifting, we make sure the wheels are true, and make sure everything's torqued down to the right amount and make sure everything on the bike is safe to ride. So what we do when adjusting brakes is just basically make sure everything's tightened down correctly, and cables do stretch over time. So we like to make sure the brake cables are to the right tension, both front and rear. And then they have the correct spacing on each side of the rim. Now, part of the shifting adjustments that we do is making sure each gear is reached when you're shifting through, and each limit is set correctly so your chain doesn't fall off, which can get caught in your actual wheel and cause damage to both your chain and wheel if it does fall off. So we make sure everything is adjusted properly and in working condition, which this one seems to be. Could add a little tension here. What? Everything seems to be working just fine. Now, as far as wheels being true, we like to just first off spin the wheel, see if anything is, wobbling back and forth, and if it is, we take a spoke wrench and we will tighten down certain spokes and make sure the wheel is straight. So just make a few adjustments here. And that seemed to fix it. Now, as far as tightening everything else down, we go through, make sure the stem is all tightened down to the right torque. And every single nut and bolt on the bike will be gone through to make sure it's safe to ride. Now, one thing you can do as a consumer when going to take a ride, you always want to check your tire pressure. Make sure that's set up correctly. You want to make sure your brakes are not rubbing. You just go down, take a peek, make small adjustments yourself to ensure that nothing is wrong with your bike before you go for a ride. When at home, when you are checking your tire pressure, you should have a pump just to make sure before every ride your tires are filled with the proper pressure. Go through, and on the side of every tire it will say the proper pounds per square inch, and you want to fill it up just to about where that is. So this particular tire is recommends 120 psi. So we take off the valve cap, let a little air out to loosen the valve on this particular stem, and then you take your pump, use the correct valve, and then we fill it up, and we're good to go. And you should feel stiff pressure. Basically, by getting your bike tuned every year, you will have an insurance in the back of your head that everything on the bike is good to go, and you will be safe, and I don't want to say nothing will go wrong, but a lot of times that's just user error. So it's just, we're trained professionals that go through the bike and make sure everything's correctly adjusted and safe to ride. The most common problem with bikes that we usually fix are problems with brakes. As far as being adjusted left to right, one pad may be dragging on the rim. And then as far as shifting goes, cables stretch over time, and they need to be adjusted. As far as tension wise, things just get out of whack. It's natural, cables stretch, things wear. You really can't avoid it with bikes. So the most common adjustments we make are to brakes and gears.
Because it's so trafficy here in Uptown, I avoid a lot of, it's actually faster for me to take the nice ride than it is to take the bus or drive, because I can be a lot more flexible as to where I can turn. I kind of wing it on my way to work, because some days there might be student traffic for St. Thomas or other kinds of obstacles, and I can just do some winging it as far as how I get to work. I think it's a lot about getting into the habit of doing that. I know some people have issues with, say, dealing with traffic, competing with traffic, but there are bike lanes here in Minneapolis. If you follow those, and it's really, you have a lot more flexibility even when those are busy, because you can, say, turn off if it's getting kind of congested. The light going to the left is green and it looks a little bit less crowded there. It's pretty handy to do that instead. Yeah, in addition to working, I also will take the nice ride to meet friends for brunch or to do errands downtown or uptown. A lot of different things like that. It's just kind of a matter of habit. I'll walk to the corner and think maybe I'll walk or take the bus, and I'll wait a few minutes, and then if the bus isn't coming, and I'll think, well, the nice ride's right across the street. Why don't I just, do that instead? And it's I've come to know where all of the places where you can drop off the nice rides, so it's pretty convenient.
Well, hi, welcome to Trailhead.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Not too shabby.
Awesome.
Yeah, can I help point the direction a little bit? Find the right
I'm
category
just looking
it?
for a road bike, I think. I'm doing the MS-150 with some friends.
Oh, cool.
Looking to upgrade
Okay.
what I have now, so.
Sure. Well, let me take you on back to the road bikes, so right back this way. What's your current bike like?
It's just an older road bike. Aluminum frame.
Okay.
So-
I've got some nice ones over here. Let me take you over here. A lot of older aluminum bikes tend to be kind of harsh riding. So as you're going down the road, the vibration from, like the cracks in the pavement, the pea gravel in the asphalt, whatever, will cause numbness in the hands or a stiff neck, those kinds of things. Are you getting a little bit of that, do you think? Or?
And the legs too. And the
Okay.
shoulders.
Okay. Well, bikes like this one that are made of carbon fiber will help with that a lot, because as the shock wave is trying to pass through the frame, the carbon fiber is negating a lot of that vibration.
All right.
So in addition to the bike being having a lighter frame, it's actually making the ride more comfortable for you. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people can spend so much time in the saddle and cover so much ground, is they're not getting abused along the way,
All right.
This bike also comes equipped with the Shimano 105 componentry. It's a great model of equipment. It has a good product life, shifts real smoothly. The shifters on these are built into the brake levers, and so your upshift is to take the brake lever and fold it in like such.
Okay.
And your downshift is this paddle behind it. So if you hit that, each stroke is 1 gear be higher in gear ratio.
Okay.
And this is up towards lower gear. So it's a nice integration of the brake and shift system. The bike industry has changed a lot in the years that I've been in this industry. When I first came into it, there were just very few selections of bicycles. Even if you looked from brand to brand, they all looked more or less the same. There were no mountain bikes. There were no triathlon bikes. Those things did not exist. There was no sport of triathlon even at that time. And so we've seen the advent of all kinds of new technologies and new categories of bicycles. Well, one of the things you're going to like about this bike is it's so nice and light. Let me pull it down so you can see. Go ahead and pick that up. It's probably roughly 20% lighter than your old bike.
Oh, definitely.
And at the same time, it's even stiffer down in the crank bottom bracket area. So when you hit a hill and you go to push hard and incline,
Okay.
you're going to notice that it seems like the tops of the hills have been removed. You just fly over the top that much easier.
All right.
Would you like to get on it? I know it's a rainy day outside, but we can put it in our bike trainer over here, and you could pedal it and try the shifters and
Oh, for sure, yeah.
test it out. Well, great.
That'd be great.
Let's take it on over there. So since the bike has clipless pedals that you latch into so you can deliver more power, you need shoes that have a sole that will support the cleat that clips in.
All right.
This bike currently has what we call SPD pedals on it. They allow for a shoe with a more walkable sole. That would be this selection on this side. And the sole is still good and stiff. You can't really flex it if you try to do so. But you've got a nice built-up rubber heel and area around where the cleat is going to bolt in. So when you get off the bike, you can get around much more efficiently.
All right.
The racing shoes like this have a very slippery sole, and you mount the cleat protrudes below the line of the sole. So when you get off the bike, your toes are kind of tipped up and they're much more slippery underfoot.
Okay.
A lot of racers will go with these because the sole is even stiffer than those, and the delivery of power is spread over an even wider part of the foot. It could help prevent tingly, numb feet on, a bike race where you're pushing very hard for a long period of time. But for most people who are riding more recreationally, like say an MS ride like you mentioned,
Yep.
this type of shoe allows you to get off the bike, go around to the feed station, go into a business and use the restrooms, whatever, because you've got a rubber sole around the cleat.
All right.
And it's typically a stiff enough sole that you can put down a lot of power, and most people are not going to have numbness. We'll look at your seat height here. I want to adjust your seat a little better for you for the test. Go ahead and, on your right foot, let's put your heel on top of the pedal for me and bring that down around to the bottom of the pedal stroke. We should have a fairly straight knee there. It looks pretty close. Give me a revolution or two like that, and we'll see if that's going to be adequate. We're just a touch low. I'm going to raise it up just a little bit.
Okay.
If you don't mind stepping down for a second. So when you were on the seat, was the nose of the saddle pushing up into you too much, or was
No.
that pretty comfortable?
It was comfortable.
Okay. If it had been pushing in too much, I would tilt the nose down a little bit.
Okay.
The challenge there is if you tilt it down too far, you'll feel like you're slipping forward, like your bones don't stay in place on the saddle.
All right.
But since we're good, we'll leave it right there. But I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. There you go.
All right.
Why don't you hop on there? And let's have a heel on there again and give me a little revolution. That looks good. You can go ahead and put your foot on like normal there. And let's take a look at the reach. Another thing that we would look at is handlebar width. They're available in about every centimeter widths.
All right.
And so basically we would just measure your shoulders just as if you were buying a suit.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and put your chest nice and straight for me, and I'll measure your shoulders here real quick. So you're about a 44 centimeter. So let's check, we'll see what this bar is. These are 42s. So yeah, you'd benefit from one size wider handlebar so your reach is a little more
Okay.
even. And that's something that would be part of the purchase. We would swap that out to the right width. So what we're going to do next is we're going to check the length of your stem to see if it's too long or too short.
All right.
So what I really want you to do is hold right here, right out on the brake hoods, and relax your elbows a little bit. You don't want to ride with straight arms, because if you hit like a crack in the pavement or a pothole, you
Yep.
could crash. So you want a little bend in the elbow, makes this like a suspension link, and you're going to be safer on your bike. Let me see you back in position there again real quick. I just want to look at your back, and it's nice and straight. We're looking good there, not hunched up. Now, that said, we can put stems in this same length on with varying degrees of height, and that would change how upright you're sitting on the bike.
All right.
The position you're in now is very nice. It's a good sporty position for someone who's comfortable. For someone with maybe neck pain or back problems, we would potentially go with a stem with a higher degree angle to it. But I think a guy your age, you probably don't have those problems, or do you?
Nope.
Okay. So we're basically done with that aspect then. I mean, the bike should be a comfortable bike as it sits.
All right.
To do a custom fitting service, so people who are riding more and more, when you've been on a bike for 2 and 3 hours and et cetera, you can get uncomfortable where you wouldn't have been on a short ride. So we're trying to overcome these issues or problems so that they can take longer rides. So that fitting service is certainly part of what we do.
So right now I work at an organization called Intercultural Student Experiences down in the Warehouse District. It's about 2 miles away, and I pick up a bike a block from where I live and commute about 15 minutes and drop it off on the corner of the building that I work at and walk into the building then and start my day.
When we decided to move to the Warehouse District from Eden Prairie, we knew that our priorities were being near public transit and making it really easy for our staff to bike to work and to be full-time biking commuters if they wanted to be. So in the construction design, we knew we wanted a locker room. So we intentionally built a shower with dressing room, and the toilet room is also large enough to be a dressing room so that all of our staff could use the locker room. We also included a bike parking lot. We have 3 bike racks where staff can come lock up their own bikes. Coincidentally, we have 2 Nice Ride bike racks just within a block of us, so it's worked out perfectly. I think anytime you consider having any type of restroom facility for your staff that's for your own office, it makes sense to consider just including a shower and a toilet. For us, we thought, are we going to have 2 or 3 toilets so that more people can be in the restroom, or would we rather have a shower and a toilet? So I think it kind of comes out in the wash. You just need to decide what would work best for our staff, and we really felt like people would benefit from having a shower, being able to bike to work and then change, shower, and be ready for the day.
The workplace that I'm at right now, and I've been there for about 4 months, is very bike friendly, and a lot of their employees bike there. There's a locker room and a shower room there, and really good accommodations to be able to change, and to a place that I can bring my lunch and park it in the refrigerator and different things like that. So it makes it real easy for me to ease into my workday. You know, if you live in town and take the bus regularly, maybe you're like I am, where I'm less and less patient about waiting for the bus, and I look across the street and I see the Nice Ride station there, and I can just hop on that bike and get to work even faster than I can get there by bus. When I'm taking the bus, I've found that I get more impatient with stopping. They stop every block or 2 to pick up more people and drop off more people, and I'm looking across on the sidewalk and saying, boy, I could be up there by now. So it's become more of a habit as I get to that freedom of being able to get to work as fast as I can. You know, my experience with taking the Nice Ride is so good compared to being on the bus or driving, because I can really see what's going on around me and experience the seasons, the weather, oxygen to my brain. It's a wonderful thing before I get to work and have to do some thinking and stuff. It's just really a good, well, beyond a workout, it's really more of an experience with, an adventure, shall I say, before I get to work.
The grips that support your hand. We're going to look at the stem that supports your upper body so that your neck's in the right position, your elbows in the right position for performance. And then we're going to look at seat fore and aft to make sure that your hips and knees and ball of the foot are in direct proportion to the pedal structure so that you're getting the most power out of every stroke.
Okay. I've been riding the same bike for about 15 years now, and I need a new bike. And I have some special issues that are needing to be addressed. So Pam is helping me. She's going to help build a bike that would be specific to my needs.
Like I said, this can drop into any stem, and then we can adjust fore and aft. Working in adaptive situations is very important because there's a lot of people that, whether they have an injury some type of birth defect or some type of disability that we need to get around so that they can cycle. There are very few situations that prevent us from getting someone on a bicycle. We can work with someone with MS, someone who's had a stroke, someone who's missing digits, someone who has a foot or an arm longer than the other or is missing a limb. We can adapt the bicycle mechanically to work with their body. And that is a very rewarding part of being here at Trailhead, when we see somebody get on a bike for the first time and realize that they can ride and ride effectively. We can change that bike to their life.
I just want to be able to do a good job and go faster than I did before. So,
Yep.
you know, like the weight and stuff is a
You might be a
consideration.
little unhappy with the Escape then, because it might just be a little too